Good morning, students, and welcome to our online video lectures. Today's topic is database concept of informatics practices, class 11th. So in our today's class, we'll be discussing about different theoretical concepts of database. What is data? What is database? What is database management system? RDBMS? What is a table, tuple, attribute? Different type of keys, those will be discussed in today's class. I hope this class will be helpful to you. If you have any doubt after watching this video, please get back to us. All of your doubts, queries will be answered. Thank you very much for watching. My dear students, today we'll learn about another new concept from our informatics practice syllabus. But before that, we'll start our class with the wonderful lines that you can see in the screen. It says, the expert in anything was a beginner. That means no matter where you stand now, where you stand today, you always should motivate yourself and you should try to improve yourself, improve your capabilities and follow your dreams. And one day, definitely, you will reach to the level where you want to reach. Till then, constant self-motivation will be required. So thank you very much for joining here, students. We'll be learning a new concept today, that is database concepts and structure query language. It has been taken from Informatics Practices of class 11th. So first we'll see the marks distribution from this chapter. As you can see, in unit number 4, it is database concepts and structured query language, and it is carrying 20 marks out of 70 marks in your theory exam. So it's a quite important chapter with so many important terminologies, so many important concepts that we'll be learning here today. And here we present the CBSE syllabus for this chapter. Always, when you will study a chapter, you will not definitely restrict your learning to whatever is there in the syllabus, but it's also absolutely important to know what is there in the syllabus so you can prepare yourself better for examination. So what we are having in the syllabus is database concept and structured query language, database concepts, introduction to database concepts and its needs. So we need to know what is database and why we need database. Then what is database management system? Then what is relational data model? Concept of domain, tuple, relation, candidate key, primary key, alternate key and foreign key that we'll be learning. Advantages of using structured query language, why we need to use structured query language, and the subparts of structured query language like data definition language, data query, data manipulation language, data query language. These will be learning theoretical concepts. Introduction to MySQL. We'll be learning creating a database using MySQL, data types that are there in our syllabus. Data definition will be doing how to create a table, drop table and alter a table. Data query will be doing select from where clauses, and data manipulation will be doing insert, update and delete. So this is the syllabus that has been provided by CBSE for this particular chapter. So all of these concepts will be discussed before you. So first topic is important concepts and terminologies. So the first thing is data. Data, what is data? Data is information about anything and everything. Information about you is data, like your name is data, your age is data, your date of birth is data. Any organization, like from our school, the school name is data, the school establishment year is a data. So what is data? Data is information about a person or an organization or an event or anything possible. What is database? Database means collection of interrelated data. That means when we are considering a student as an example, the name of the student, the collection of the name of the student, age of the student, date of birth of the student, phone number of the student, all together is creating the database of student. So what is database? Database is collection of interrelated data. Next is database management system. What is database management system? It's just a computerized record keeping system or a software that is used to create database, retrieve information from database, and modify the database. That means when you are creating a table for containing the student's data, for storing the student's data, and then you are inserting the information of the student in the table, and then you are modifying some of the informations, and then you are retrieving those informations from the table with the help of different methods. This software is called database management system, and there are plenty of database management DBMS softwares available. Like here, two examples have been given. One is MySQL that you are going to use. Another one is MongoDB. There are many others also. What is RDBMS? RDBMS, the full form is Relational Database Management System. RDBMS is a database management system where data is stored in the form of tables. So there are many other database models also available, like network model, hierarchical model, but here we will be stressing on RDBMS or relational database model. Now what is relational database model? Relation is nothing but a table. So whenever we are just storing information in DBMS in the form of table, it's called a relational database management system. The next slide is telling us what is the need of DBMS, why we at all need DBMS, database management system, why a systematic DBMS is required. The first one is data retrieval. Data can be easily retrieved or accessed using different methods. If you are having a proper DBMS installed, then you can very easily retrieve information from a tabular form of information. Data redundancy, duplication of data is reduced. Data redundancy means duplication of data. It is reduced to great extent in a proper DBMS. Like for example, let's see here, we are having three tables. The first table, suppose the name is table 1, it is having three informations, student ID, name and age. The second table is table 2, it's having subject ID, name and teacher. And the third table is having student ID, subject ID and marks. So we are basically doing what? We are basically connecting these three tables with the help of DBMS. So in this case, from the first table, though only name, age and student ID are available in this table, we can also retrieve information of the teacher and the name of the subject, because all these tables are interlinked. When all these tables are interlinked, we do not require to store the same information in all the table. The information can be stored in a single table and can be retrieved from any other table because these tables are being interconnected. So by this procedure, the data redundancy or duplication of data is being reduced to a great extent. Third one is data integrity. Whenever we are reducing duplication of data, there are chances that a particular information is stored in a single table only. So there are chances that of having different copies of a particular information, and with the different values, that chances are being reduced here. So data integrity is also being maintained, and data inconsistency is being reduced. What is data inconsistency? If you are having multiple copy of a same information, maybe at one time you are updating a particular copy of that information and the other copy you are not updating. So for a particular information, you may have different values from different table, which may definitely be confusing at times. But when you are using a proper DBMS system, you are maintaining the data in a single table. So if it is updated, it is updated. If it is not updated, it is not updated. That means having multiple value for a particular information, that chance is being reduced here. Data security. Data security is maintained through protecting or restricting data from disclosure to unauthorized access. By using DBMS system, proper DBMS system, you can give or you can take back the access of a particular information from the users. So definitely data security is also high if you use a proper DBMS system. So here again, as the tables are connected through linking columns, the linking columns are student ID and subject ID. So data redundancy and data inconsistency both are reduced, because data is being maintained in a particular table only, though from the other tables it can be accessed. Name, age, language, subject, teacher name, these are stored in a one table but can be accessed from all these three tables, because all these three tables are interconnected through the connecting attribute. Now these are the different subcategories of SQL, structured query language. We will be dealing with this database concept with the help of SQL, that is structured query language. The different types of subcategories are DDL, data definition language. It is used to create, describe, alter or remove the structure of a database or a relation. Here relation is nothing but the table. So the examples are given: create table, drop table, alter table, etc. We'll be using this later in this chapter. Second one is DML, data manipulation language. Here we will not be using this basic structure, we will not be dealing with the basic structure of the table, but whatever we'll be dealing with, whatever is inside the table, that means we'll be dealing with the data. So what DML does? It is used to manipulate the data. That means for inserting rows in a table, deleting rows in a table, modifying the information from the table, we'll be using DML there. Example of DML has been given: insert into, select, update. These are the example of DML. DCL and TCL, though will not be using in our program for this particular syllabus, but still the full form and the use we should know. So here is DCL, that is data control language. It is used to control the access rules of database. Example: that means if you want to give a particular access to a database to a particular user, you will be using grunt, and if you want to take back that access from that particular user, you will be using revoke. And the next one is TCL, transaction control language. TCL commands deals with transaction in the database. For example, after doing some of the transaction, if you want to save it, then you will be using commit. If you want to undo it, you will be using rollback. So commit and rollback are the example of TCL. Next, this is very, very important. These are relational model definitions. These are some very important definitions that we should always remember. Theory questions also will be asked from these concepts, and also will be using this in all of our SQL queries. So first of all, what is a relation? A relation is nothing but a table. So what is a relation? A relation is a table with columns and rows. So if we just see this particular table, say the name is customer. So customer, it's having, as you can see, 3 columns: customer ID, customer name and status. And it's also having 3 rows. The first row is 1 Google active, the second row is 2 Amazon active, and the third one is 3 Apple inactive. So it's having 3 rows and it's having 3 columns. So it's a collection of rows and columns. So what it is actually? This is a relation. The name of the relation is customer. So a relation is a table with rows and columns. Next one is attribute. What is an attribute? An attribute is a named column of a relation. So in simplified way, what is an attribute? This is a property of relation. So in this relation, what are the attributes? These are the names of the columns. That means in this relation customer, the attributes are customer ID, customer name and status. So what are the attributes? These are the names of the columns or the properties. Okay. Third one is, what is tuple? T-U-P-L-E. Tuple is nothing but a row of a relation. So a tuple is a row of a relation. So if we see this particular example here, then one tuple is one Google active. So this is a tuple. The second tuple is 2 Amazon active. This is another tuple. And the third one is 3 Apple inactive. So these are the tuple. So as you can see, it is pointed out tuple or row. Tuples are nothing but the rows, and columns or attribute. Columns are nothing but the attributes. Okay, and also it is written total number of rows in a table is called cardinality, and the total number of columns or attributes is called degree. So what is degree? It is total number of columns. So here the degree is 1, 2, 3. What is cardinality? It's total number of tuples or rows. Here the total number of rows is 3. But the first line, row, when we will be counting the cardinality, the heading row will be not counted there. So here the total number of row will be 3. What is a domain? A domain is a set of allowable values for one or more attributes. So here you see domain of customer ID. What is customer ID? This is an attribute. In customer ID, what are the values that we are having? We are having 1, 2 and 3. So these are the allowable value. So domain of customer ID, as you can see, it is written here. Domain of customer ID is 1, 2 and 3. Next is, what is degree? A degree of a relation is the number of attributes. Just like just before this, we have already done what is degree and what is cardinality. A cardinality is a relation, of a relation is the number of tuples, that means number of rows. What is relational database? Relational database is a collection of normalized relation with distinct relation names. What is relational database? Are the collection of databases, or the collection of tables where the data are stored in the form of table, where the data stored in tabular form. So that is relational database. And then we are coming to a very, very important concept, that is key. What is key? K-E-Y. There are different types of keys are there in SQL or in database. So first we are starting with candidate key. What is candidate key? Candidate keys are those keys which is candidate for primary key of a table. In simple words, we can understand that such type of keys which fulfill the requirement of a primary key, which is not null and have unique records in a candidate for primary key. So if we just see the table here, okay, see customer ID, customer name and status. Now as you can see, the status can be active for more than one rows. The status can be inactive for more than one rows. Customer name also sometimes can be same, but customer ID, it will always be different. So what is key? Key is the combination of one or more attributes that can uniquely identify a tuple. That means if we say that in a particular table, like in this table, customer ID is the key, then this means that for each different rows, the value of customer ID has to be different, because it cannot be same for more than one tuple, because it's identifying different tuples here. So here in this table, like we are taking another table, student, this name of this table is student. We are having student ID, roll number, first name, last name and email. So here, in your school also there you are having admission number, you are having UBI ID number. So these are different for all the students. So student ID will always be different. So if I tell you that you find out the attributes that can work as key attribute, that means whose value will be different for all the tuples. So definitely student ID can be one of those tuples that can act as a primary key. The second one is roll number. For a particular section and a particular class, roll number can be also eligible for the post of primary key. But if you are considering student of different section, then the roll number can be also same. Then first name and last name of student can definitely not act as primary key because names can be same for more than one students. Email ID also, for a particular, we can take a chance that for a particular section, for a particular school, the email IDs can also be different. So here what is candidate key? Candidate keys are those keys, key matlab hai, key means more, set of one or more attributes that can act as, that can uniquely identify a tuple. That means that can, the value of that set of attribute will be different for all the rows of a particular table. So here in this particular table, as you can see, student ID, roll number, first name, last name and email. From here, what are the attributes that are eligible for the post of primary key? Because in a table only one primary key can be there. So here, as you can see, student ID, roll number and email ID are the eligible candidates that can work as a primary key. That means that will be having different values for all the tuples. So this is candidate key. Candidate keys are the candidate for the primary key post of a table. In a table, only one primary key can be there, but multiple candidate keys can be there. Like as you can see in this table, student, three candidate keys are there: student ID, roll number and email. And what is primary key? Among this candidate key, the particular key that we are choosing to be the primary key, to act as a primary key, will be called as a primary key. So here from student ID, roll number and email ID, we are choosing student ID to become the primary key. So student ID is becoming the primary key. Then what is alternate key? If in any table there are more than one candidate key, among those multiple candidate key, one is chosen to be the primary key. What will happen to the others? The other candidate keys will be called the alternate keys. Okay, so in this table we are having three candidate keys: student ID, roll number and email. Among these three candidate keys, student ID we are choosing to be the primary key, so the other two candidate keys, roll number and email, will be called alternate key because they are not chosen to be the primary key. What is composite key? If a particular key is made of only one variable, then it is single key. Like student ID is a single attribute, it's a single primary key, a single key. Roll number is a single attribute, it's a single key. Email ID is a single attribute, it's a single key. What is composite key? If you are having more than one element together is forming a key, more than one attribute together is forming a key, it's called composite key. So we'll learn another very special key in database concept, that is foreign key. What is foreign key? Foreign key are those keys or those set of attributes that are used to define relationship between two tables. That means whenever we'll be using foreign key, there should be two tables and foreign key will be joining those two tables. Now foreign key is a set of attributes that are hired from a strong entity set to a weak entity set. Now what is entity set? Entity set is collection of entity. Entity means identifiable object. That means entity set is nothing but a table. That means foreign key will be joining two tables. If you are having a table where you have no attribute that can act as a primary key, you can hire another attribute or set of attribute from another table which will act as a primary key in the first table. So here let's see one example here. One table we are having, the first table is student. It's having student ID, first name and last name in it. Say student ID, first name, last name, all are not able to act as primary key. Then from where the primary key will be taken, from where the primary key will be got here. So we are using a second table here. The name of the table is course and it's having course ID and course name. So from the second table, course ID is being hired, which will act as a primary key in the first table. So Here course ID is a foreign key to the first table. Course ID is being hired from the second table and being used as a foreign key in the first table. So what is foreign key? Foreign key is a set of one or more attributes that are hired from a strong entity set to a weak entity set, and it will work as a primary key in the weak entity set. So this is what foreign key is. So these are the different types of keys in a database, like we have discussed: candidate key, primary key, alternate key, composite key, single key, and now foreign key. So these are the basic concepts of database that we have already discussed in today's class. In the next class, we will be starting with the programming with structured query language or SQL. Please watch this video, and if you have any doubt, please let us know, and all of your doubts, all of your queries will be solved. So once again, thank you for watching this video.